Hey guys, this is Ryan from themooninsdeadworld.net. Trying something a little bit different where we're going to be doing some video reviews that correspond with some of the written reviews that I do on the site. This is just a way to kind of facilitate those who don't like to do a lot of reading. I know there are some people out there that are like that. Those who don't have time to do the reading on the site, and for those who just prefer video on YouTube, and also maybe to make a little bit of money. But probably not very much. But anyway, today the first topic that I wanted to bring up is the latest review that I did for the site, which is Afterlife with Archie #9, the comic series based in the Archie universe that just happens to have zombies as well. Written by Roberto Aguirre-Sacasa and Francesco Francavilla. I really love the Afterlife with Archie series. It's one of my favorite comics right now. The whole thing has really come together quite well, especially for those who follow the Archie series. Like me, I grew up with it, and I used to always buy all of the comic issues when I saw them in the supermarket. So now, when it corresponds with my love of horror, that just makes everything even better. So in this issue, we're kind of returning from a break that was taken, actually, I think like half a year ago now. Both Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, the sister series, and Afterlife with Archie went on hiatus for a little while, kind of unplanned. They were planning on releasing their subsequent issues just in order, but for various reasons, busy schedules and things like that, the issues were pushed back quite a bit. So there's been a lot of time in between when we had Afterlife with Archie #8 and then Afterlife with Archie #9. But this one returns after a long hiatus with an issue that's almost solely centered on Reggie. Reggie Mantle, he's Riverdale's biggest douchebag and kind of a player, and almost always characterized as a guy that's so full of himself that even Archie can't compete. So he's kind of Archie's nemesis in a way, not so much in the regular comics, but especially in Afterlife with Archie. Whereas Jughead, or Jugdead, in Afterlife with Archie is kind of the main antagonist for the series. Reggie has been sidelined, not so much an important character, but mostly supporting in his role. And so for an issue like Afterlife with Archie #9 to focus solely on Reggie and his narrative, it's kind of a gutsy thing to do, especially returning from a break. And maybe Afterlife with Archie #9 didn't plan on having such a long break, and that was already written before the hiatus, but nevertheless, it's kind of interesting to see that aguirre-sacasa returns to this series from such a long break with an issue that might be somewhat risky depending on how he pulls it off. But for Afterlife with Archie #9, he really does do a great job of characterizing Reggie, working with that character to give him a bit of backstory that we normally don't get from him. Reggie can kind of be a foil for Archie, but never a main character, a main player in the series. So for Afterlife with Archie #9, aguirre-sacasa puts him at the forefront, gives him a backstory, a tale that he can tell to Kevin, one of the survivors in the Afterlife with Archie series that has escaped from Riverdale, has escaped the Horde in order to kind of shack up with Archie and Betty and Veronica and the rest of the kids who did end up making it out of Riverdale intact without being eaten by the zombies. The narrative from Reggie is kind of a change from Archie's usual delivery, and Reggie gives us a few of his dreams and aspirations. He wants to be the one that always comes to the rescue, and in this case, he first tells Kevin that it was him and Midge who came to the rescue with horses. They found them on a nearby farm. They saved them, and they brought them back in order to give the rest of the crew an easy way to travel and to make sure that they maintain their safety, at least with 2 scouts who can go ahead and search for any zombies that might be in their path. Except Reggie and Midge weren't the ones that found the horses. It was Archie and Betty. And that's pretty much how everything goes for Reggie when it comes to Archie's legacy. It's always Reggie on the as the third wheel, sometimes fourth. And Archie's always the one that gets the limelight. And so Reggie kind of details that aspiration to be like Archie in that he acts selfless. He's always working towards helping the group instead of his regular narcissistic tendencies. It's an overview of how Reggie sees himself. He expects to be like Archie, able to lead the group through the apocalypse, but instead he keeps hanging on to those fantasies and not being able to actually act on them. It's not particularly surprising for aguirre-sacasa to explore these themes within Afterlife with Archie. We've seen them previously in the other issues, and in general, he always does a good job of characterizing his supporting cast members in a way that makes them into nearly as important figures as Archie. But Reggie's narrative is chilling and most often pathetic. Most of the time Reggie's a jackass, and it's hard to really relate to him in a way that you're not just hating him. But here we do find that he has some personal issues that make him a more realistic, three-dimensional character, especially when he divulges that in a previous time during an online test, he felt that he could possibly be a sociopath if it wasn't for his love for Midge. But that's the horror of this issue. Not so much that the zombies actually make it into it. We do see a little bit of Jugdead and the rest of his horde making their way towards Archie and the rest of the group. But really, the real-life horrors are the ones that aguirre-sacasa explores in this issue. Like we saw in the first issue, Reggie was the one that actually ended up killing Jughead's dog, Hot Dog. He hit him with his car. But in this issue, we learn, as divulged to Kevin, that it was Reggie who intentionally hit Hot Dog out of spite. He wanted to see something else hurt because he couldn't have Midge when Moose confronted him. It's a sort of thing that signal his sociopathic tendencies, but on the other hand, he does admit that he feels remorse for it. Aguirre-sacasa seems to be sending us some mixed signals that Reggie's both somewhat sociopathic, but that he's also redeemable. It's kind of forcing us to hope that maybe he will end up doing the right thing when it comes down to that time. Unfortunately, in Afterlife with Archie #9, he doesn't make the right choice. Confronted with either staying with the group or and dealing with the aftermath of revealing that he intentionally killed Hot Dog, he decides to leave the group, heading out on his own, and meeting the Horde and facing them, basically facing Jugdead, and then Hot Dog as well. He expects to be brutally eaten, mauled to death by Hot Dog, who is now an undead beast, but instead they kind of diverge and allow him to make it through the rest of the Horde so that he can meet with Sabrina, who has in previous issues been possessed by the Ancient Ones, Cthulhu, any sort of that Lovecraftian universe that aguirre-sacasa has been working into the storyline so far. And Sabrina basically gives him an option. You can kill Betty, and you can have Midge. And it's something that he's been dreaming of. That's his one big wish, besides being accepted, is to have Midge for himself. Lust is a big topic in the Archie comics. Not just in Afterlife with Archie, but in the regular series as well. In those regular series, there might not be as many sexual implications as there are in Afterlife with Archie. But still, there are subtle nods to, how Archie tries to compete amongst two other beautiful women, and sometimes three. Um, you know, he is always after both Betty and Veronica, and he's really not able to choose between them. In here, it's reference that there are some references to masturbation, to dominance, um, and really is Reggie here who is making the decision that he'd rather have dominance over Midge than actually get her on his own terms. And so that's kind of a dark theme that runs throughout Afterlife with Archie #9. But it's a really, really strong one, especially for this character, Reggie, who, he doesn't really get that much focus in any of the Archie series. Afterlife with Archie #9 is a fantastic return for this series. And aguirre-sacasa and Francavilla have not lost a step in the downtime, especially Francavilla, who's working now with more purples and yellows in this issue. In the previous arcs, we had seen kind of the oranges of Halloween, and then we moved into the blues of winter as we stayed at the lodge that kind of paid homage to The Shining. Now we're seeing more purples and yellows, and that kind of fits with Reggie as well because he's stuck in the middle, and you have the middle colors of purple and yellow actually facilitating that theme. There's some big payoffs in this issue, and that keeps the momentum moving forward as we're working towards that inevitable death of Betty, which is foreshadowed in the title of this arc, Betty R.I.P. And next up, we're going to see the Pussycats as well, making their first debut, which I'm really excited for. And if you have picked up the issue, you can see the cover artwork for Afterlife with Archie #10, and it looks really great. So I'm really excited to see what Afterlife with Archie #10 brings to the series so far. And really, right now, there's no... I don't see anything stopping aguirre-sacasa from moving forward indefinitely with this series. It's still got a lot of room to grow, and I think that so far it's been doing a really great job at crafting both the Archie universe into this zombie universe, and then also putting some Lovecraftian themes in there as well. So if you're a fan of any of those, you definitely want to check out this series, and specifically if you're looking to learn a little bit more about Reggie, this is the issue for that. So I give this a 9 out of 10. A really solid issue for Afterlife with Archie. Let me know what you think in the comments. How have you been feeling about the series in general, or how did you feel about this issue particularly? Do you think that it works with focusing almost solely on Reggie? And where do you think that aguirre-sacasa goes moving forward? Let me know in the comments. I will be back again doing more video reviews that correspond with some of the posts that I've been doing on the moonisdeadworld.net. So check back here on the YouTube page, and then also check the moonisdeadworld.net because I do writing posts almost every day. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.